What do you say, everybody? Welcome to the Cubs baseball channel. The Cubs make a second deal. We've been trying to wait to find out what they gave up to get reliever Andrew Kittredge, but they get Kittredge from Baltimore. We'll talk about the impact of him on the roster and what might happen today as we sit here on the actual day of the trade deadline, waiting to see what the Cubs do. One of their big targets off the table. We'll talk about how that went down. So let's get this thing started. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillispie, great to talk to you today on the Cubs baseball channel, at Broadcaster Mick on the socials. All right, look, I know that this trade happened last night. We didn't jump on right away and do it. I was waiting to see what the Cubs gave up so that we could kind of evaluate what this deal is. I don't think that the Cubs gave up anything major to get Orioles reliever Andrew Kittredge, but we'll find out. And that news will probably be coming out pretty soon. This is the second trade that the Cubs made. They also got Michael Soroka, the right-handed starter from the Nationals, a guy that could also relieve. And they gave up Christian Franklin and Ronnie Cruz to get him. So, now back at it again. These aren't the type of moves that are knocking your socks off. But at the same time, you're trying to solidify a bullpen that hasn't been that solid over the last couple of weeks. You add to the starting rotation. You don't want to give up the farm for some rental guys. But I think that the Cubs still have a splash trade or two in them before the end of the day. They haven't traded Jackson Wiggins yet that we know of. They still have, Moises Ballesteros, who, by the way, got to the major leagues in a move where the Cubs finally designated Brujan for assignment. I think that they're going to make some more moves on their bench. Might have waited a little bit too long to bring up some of these young guys, but if the Cubs don't trade Owen Casey, they need to get him to the big leagues too to help out. But let's talk about Kittredge, who was someone that you remember from St. Louis last year. He's a strikeout guy, over a strikeout per inning. Last year was with the Cardinals. He was with Tampa Bay for a long time. He's got off to a slow start in Baltimore and then really picked it up. So, he's been good of late. He's making $9 million this year. And then there's a $9 million team option for next year with $1 million buyout. So that tells you that, that's in the world of baseball, $1 million buyout might be good for the player. And it's great for the team, right? Because you're not stuck with the 9 if you don't want him. But if he does well, why wouldn't you want him? And at times he's been one of the best relievers in baseball. So he's a veteran guy. He's going to be able to really help you. Baltimore thought that he was going to be part of a team that made the playoffs this year, and obviously they were pretty disappointing with the way that things went. But last year had a 2.80 ERA over 74 appearances in St. Louis. You guys remember him from there. And then this year with Baltimore, got off to a pretty rough start, had knee surgery before the season, and then got to the mound almost in June, late May. And he's got a 356 earned run average over 30 outings. And he's 12 points above what the league average is. So, he's been better than average, which is what you want out of your bullpen. And 31 strikeouts in 30 innings. So that's great. And only 5 walks allowed. So he's someone that's going to come in and immediately be an impact player in this bullpen. You're trying to string these games together. You get a good start. And having a guy like Kittredge is only going to help. Now, let's talk about a couple guys that the Cubs didn't get. And when this trade, and we find out the full details of this trade on a video later today, and I'm sure we'll have them as other trades happen. We'll kind of reassess it again. But Jeff Passan had put, and we had heard that the Cubs were at the top of the list with Mariners to get Eugenio Suarez. Well, Suarez ended up going to the Mariners. They sent 4 players over. It was really one of those deals that the Cubs probably looked at and said, hey, this is a little too rich. Or maybe they felt like Matt Shaw, the way that he's been playing lately, gives them the flexibility to focus in on one of or both of the starters that the Diamondbacks have. Now, would you see both starters potentially go to the Cubs in Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly. I don't know. That was something that I suggested, but it's hard to pull those deals off. And now that you got Soroka, you wonder how the Cubs are going to kind of assess that deal too. But I still think that the Diamondbacks and the Cubs are a great trade partner, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to do that. So the Cubs miss out on Suarez. Also, Duran, the really hard-throwing fireballer from the Twins, got traded, and 4 prospects to Minnesota to get him. He would have been great to have in the back end of the bullpen, but the prospects, let's say for two of the top 6 prospects in the organization to get Duran. And so that's what it takes to make these kind of, Phillies sent over not just 2 top prospects, but 2 top 100 prospects to get Yohan Duran. And that's sometimes what it takes. Mick Abel and Eduardo Tate go to Minnesota to get that deal done. So it's going to be interesting. Are the Cubs willing to give up Owen Casey? Would they give up Moises Ballesteros, who had finally gets a chance in the big leagues and comes through immediately? Or are the Cubs thinking maybe instead of trading, maybe they give these guys in AAA an opportunity to come up? Maybe you figure out a way to get Owen Casey up there, Moises Ballesteros. And I know that Hap being banged up opened the door, but when the thing that the Cubs are going to have to do is when guys that are on the big league team like Hap aren't performing, whether they're hurt or they're just not performing, that they need to start being a little bit more judicial when it comes to sending these guys up from Iowa and letting them get in there and get some at-bats and see if they can't spark this team. Now, I've said this before, Joe Madden was an expert at this, and it just feels like Craig Counsell's a little bit more old school when it comes to, bringing up these guys and letting them get an opportunity. But Ballesteros had one of the biggest hits in the game against Milwaukee and was a difference maker. So anyway, that's where we are right now. I don't want this one to go too long. I'm going to pop back on later when hopefully the Cubs make some more deals. I'm looking for them to continue to work today to add another starter. I don't know about a third baseman. I saw where Key Brian Hayes was traded as well to Cincinnati. I wasn't enamored with him. I mean, I know he plays great defense, but I think the Cubs need elite impact players. That's not what we've gotten so far in this trade deadline, but I think that it's something that is very, very potentially very near to happening, and it could be in the starter area. Maybe even it's with Cleveland's Justin Bieber. No, Justin Bieber. I mean, Justin's cousin. No, I'm just kidding. Shane Bieber, according to Bob Nightingale, is on the market, and the Cubs are in the sweepstakes for a guy that could be dominant when he's healthy. So we'll find out. But anyway, like, subscribe, get in the comments section. Tell me what you guys think, and we will continue to watch this all day, and hopefully the Cubs pull off deals that are going to help them win a World Series. I think that's the goal. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, and we'll talk to you.